It is Thursday, July 6th, 2023. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by Bird Dogs. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. I am energized. I am loving life because I spent a little time yesterday at Dodger Stadium before the Pirates-Dodgers game. Got to hang out with our buddy Austin Hedges. That episode will be coming out next week. Saw guys like Kutch and David Bednar, my buddy Derek Shelton, met Connor Joe. He was a really neat kid. So fun day at the ballpark, dude.
That's awesome. I love the matchup. The Dodgers, Pirates, the uniforms are incredible. So aesthetically pleasing for me. And then you got to see Kutch, man. That's like my guy. Did you say hi for me?
Yeah. I don't believe so. That's sorry. That's okay.
That's okay.
There were people that there was a trainer that asked about you. He spent time with you in Rochester.
Interesting.
Yeah, for the
Tony
Pirates.
Leo, maybe?
I think that's who it was. I think that's
Love
who it
Tony
was.
Leo.
Yeah. Yeah, he said a lot of nice things about you. So don't worry, you are beloved down at the ballpark, even though we weren't together. But I imagine the next time we both go down, we're going to want to look in style in the heat of July, courtesy of Bird Dogs. Their stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg to give you that truly sculpted look. Bird Dog shorts, they fit way better than regular shorts that are made of that stiff, restrictive cotton. Well, they have fixed that issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get that way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And since we are in that heat time of year in July, Bird Dogs also uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric, keeps you cool and dry all day long. So we want you to look great by heading to birddogs.com/today. You also get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order for all those amazing barbecues. We know how Plouffe likes to cook his meat. Well, now he can swig on his favorite beverage as well. That's birddogs.com/today for your free Yeti-style tumbler. And oh, by the way, in addition to that, please get your Bird Dogs question of the weekend by tonight, Thursday night, so we can use the best one on Friday's show, give you lots of love and accolades, and also a free Baseball Today t-shirt. So make it entertaining, interesting, so that we can use it. Okay. Before we get to our 5 questions, tip of the cap to Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins. First career shutty, a career-high 12 strikeouts over the Kansas City Royals. And afterward, we saw a pitcher get donned with the Land of 10,000 Rakes vest. Why is that? Because it was Lopez's idea in spring training to purchase that and give it to the hitters when they were celebrating a home run. I like it that the position players didn't forget giving their starting pitcher the love.
Pablo's very beloved in that clubhouse. Shout out to my guy Frank in the back there. He's putting the walleyes onto the jersey every time they hit a homer. But yes, that was an incredible outing by him. The first time they've had a 9-inning complete game shutout in like 12 years or something like that. A long time.
Jesus.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that stat. It's been a while, people.
Okay.
That's probably a wrong stat.
Probably. Don't double check him on that one. We don't want to ruin the rest.
I think it was like 2 people in a season. So him and Joe Ryan did it, and that's the first time in 12 years that's happened.
All right, maybe something like that. I think you're just making shit up. So we give a tip of the cap to him, but we're focused on hitters to start this show. And in particular, a pair of rookie. What does Dan Rourke say? 1,909 days between complete game shutouts? Jesus.
I think I was right then.
Yeah, that is years.
That's not 12 years, though.
That's not 12 years. That's like 5 plus, close to 6, if not totally 6. All right, whatever. I can't do this sort of math at this time of day. Can we just talk about the rookie hitters? A couple of them. They didn't even break camp with their respective clubs. Alvarez and De La Cruz doing their things in dramatic fashion. De La Cruz, of course, had his bat inspected in his first at-bat by Davey Martinez, and in his second at-bat, he goes, 455. You're going to hear about that. You're going to hear from Davey Martinez. But first, the dramatics of a 21-year-old rookie catcher for the New York Mets.
And he flies one deep right field. McCarthy back near the wall. It's out of here! Francisco Alvarez ties the game! 2 out, 2 strikes, home run in the top of the 9th.
De La Cruz trying to add to it. He crushes. Upper deck, right center.
Make that 94.
A De La Cruz missile.
I love the way he plays the game. I don't like his antics, after he hit the home run. We could do without that. He's only got 2 weeks in the big leagues, but, he's going to be a good player.
Did Davey Martinez sound a little bit like old man on my get off my lawn?
Yeah, he did. But you know what? I'm sure a lot of people around the big leagues still feel that way. There's still the transition into kind of leaning into the celebrations and the youthful exuberance, all that stuff. I mean, for forever, it was, you need to get a little bit of dirt on your spikes before you start doing stuff like that. I think that's kind of going away. I'll tell you what, youth baseball, they are celebrating like Elly De La Cruz. Whether you think that's good or bad, the kids are watching the big leaguers doing it. It's probably why a reason Davey doesn't like it. But I think it's fun, especially if you're a player of his caliber. And you know what? I know he's only been here for a couple weeks, whatever it is. He's an absolute stud. And the only reason he did the antics was because Davey made him check the blast motion on the bottom of his bat. So at first I kind of had a problem with it. So you know where I stand on all this, C-Rose.
I don't.
If you want to celebrate, well, we've talked about before. If you want to celebrate, let's celebrate. I'm okay with that. I've come around to that. People that came from they're my age, my generation, like we were just forced into, hey, be like this, real tight and close and don't show emotion because that's not good for the game. Towards the end of my career, I got rid of that. Now I'm okay with it. I want guys to celebrate. I realize how good it is for the game. But I also like if you celebrate with your team, don't celebrate against the other team. Don't try to show up the other team. And at first, I thought he was pointing to the knob and pointing into the Nationals dugout, but he wasn't. He was pointing into his own dugout. So I don't care about that stuff. So I don't know why Davey cares about it either, because he wasn't even looking at him. And if you don't want him to celebrate like that, you probably shouldn't have checked it out. Blast motion, I believe, is like approved by MLB. Like you can use that. And that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, and they made him. The umpires were confused because I don't think these guys had ever been asked to check that part of a bat before. So they made him remove it, and he ended up striking out his first time. And then the second time, like the league office called and told the Nationals, no, hey, this is approved.
But once again, I've never noticed it on his bat. Have you?
No, but I wasn't looking for it either.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look now, because I feel like I would notice something like that. If he wears it every single time, I'm sorry. But yeah. Maybe you're just trying to get the metrics.
Yeah, can we get to the bigger point, which is, yes, Davey Martinez sounds old, and so does a lot of baseball. And I think if you were to take a private poll of most coaching staffs, they would hate what they just saw out of Elly De La Cruz. Now, most
a lot of players too, Chris.
Hey,
a lot of players.
Well, that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah,
because I remember, and you and I have had this discussion. Weren't you in the dugout the day that Jose Ramirez hit one of his first home runs ever?
Yeah.
And it was against Minnesota and Paul Molitor. And all I could remember was as Jose Ramirez sat and admired it, was Molitor screaming at him to run around the bases. Well, what has Jose Ramirez turned into? One of the best players in baseball here almost a decade later. But I know that it chapped your ass at the time. You guys are probably all yelling at him to run and fuck that and all that stuff. Let's just please get past that. If you don't want to do it, and if you don't want to have your team do it, cool. I guess, I think you're restricting people's personalities. And once again, yeah, he didn't turn to the Nationals and flip them a double bird and do cartwheels and all that sort of shit. He celebrated crushing a ball more than 450 feet. And he looked at his boys and was like, yeah, I don't care whether you have this thing on my bat or don't.
As far as the Jose Ramirez situation, I don't remember what I was doing. I remember the game 100%. I remember it was Molly and Kurt Suzuki. They were very upset. He did throw the bat way up there. That was before people were doing that, Zero. So
yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on at that time. But look, yeah, it was just that's what was passed down each generation. So, it's going to take some time for it to completely leave the game. So you can't really fault guys who still feel that way. I mean, that's just what they were told. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. There's no doubt about it. The one thing I'll always say here is don't do it to the other team or show up the other team like directly towards them, because that's just going to invite, whether you think this is right or not, also, it can invite someone to get hit with the baseball on your team.
Okay.
And it might not be you. And that's the one thing that I'm like, dang, man, like, let's celebrate, but just don't be disrespectful towards the other team, because you're inviting that in. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm just telling you that's the truth.
The NBA and the NFL, which have changed their stances over the years on celebrations, both have penalties, right? There's a taunting penalty in the NFL if you do something directed at an opponent. In the NBA, you can get a technical foul if something is directed at an opponent. In baseball, we don't have a penalty that can be issued by the umpire.
Yeah, it's a ball in the ribs, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So it's taking care of yourself, which we can have a wholly, entirely different show about whether or not that part is right. And the other thing, I want to give a little love to Francisco Alvarez. I was watching that at Bat Live. Like the Mets, Senga had pitched such a good game, had been outdone by Arizona in a 1-0 contest. Chafin, who's been really good, mows through the first 2 outs, and then a 2-strike pitch to a 21-year-old rookie. It's I think his 5th homer in the late going to tie or give his team the lead. Some sort of ridiculous stat. Check out Sarah Lang's social media for that one, because she's always the best in the world at that. But to see him flip the bat and everything was fantastic. And a huge win for the Mets, too.
Yeah, 3-2 count, did it. Then Canna comes up and does his thing. Very nice win for the Mets. They're back.
No. Yeah, okay. They got a big series with the San Diego Padres this weekend. That if one of those teams continues to roll, because they both had good weeks so far, then maybe we could have that discussion. You know what team is rolling? The defending National League champs, the Philadelphia Phillies. They've won 11 straight road games after taking the first 2 of a set down in St. Petersburg against the Rays. Now, we've talked about Philly's resurgence as of late. So we're going to put that on hold for a second. I want to focus a little bit on Tampa Bay, which has been just okay as of late. 17-14 since the beginning of June. Do you think the Rays will ever not be in first place in the AL East at some point this season? And if not, who will be?
If I was a betting man, I would bet that the Rays stay in first place, pole to pole, which is crazy to think about, because you're kind of like, you're picking and choosing here, talking about the Rays have just been okay. I can give you some stats where they've just been okay. 4-6 in their last 10, 9-11 in their last 20. Okay, so just okay. But if you really go back to it, March 1-0, April 22-6, May 17-12, June 17-10, and July they're 0-4. So they started out July poorly. I think they're the best team in that division. The Orioles, for as good as the Rays have been, and remember, at one point I believe there were 29 games over 500. Yes, 29 games over 500. The largest lead in that division. Can you guess what it's been?
I'm going to say it's probably been 7.
6.5. So as good
Rose.
as the Rays have been, the Orioles have been on their tail. So I don't think that they relinquish the lead in the AL East. I don't. Now, a couple things could change my mind. The trade deadline's coming up. If the Orioles go out and get someone like an Erod or Lucas Giolito or somebody like that, then I can start to think of, maybe there's going to be a time where they tie or something like that. But the Rays have just been too good up and down. Even with the injuries to all their pitchers, they've been just as consistent could be in winning series. So I don't think they'll relinquish it. And if it does happen, I guess I'll give it to the Orioles to catch it. They're the closest, and they played just as well all year long.
It's a 5-game lead over Baltimore, 8 over the Yankees, who, of course, are without Aaron Judge for the foreseeable future. Carlos Rodon is expected to make his Yankees debut at some point this month, very, very soon. I think, but isn't it possible it's this weekend?
I think so.
Is it? Yeah. So
tomorrow.
That's a few things tomorrow. Okay, that'll be fun. There's a few things that could change it. McClanahan is going to come back when he is eligible. So this back issue, they don't think that it's a long-term thing, but I can tell you as a back injury expert myself, that thing can rear its ugly head out of nowhere. So that's something that could be okay one day, and all of a sudden in the third inning, throws a fastball. He's like, ugh, that's a problem. So I don't think the Rays are going to make a whole lot of moves at the trade deadline. Something that they might see an
You
arm
don't know
out there
that.
they.
You don't know that.
That's true. I don't know that. I don't know that. But I will say this. Their astronomical offensive numbers that they had through the first 2 months of the season, we knew were not sustainable, and they have started to fall off a little bit. With all that being said, I think they still have 7 guys with an OPS over 800, which is absolutely ridiculous. I will answer that question and say I still believe in the Rays. I still believe that they will hold the AL East from day one through the end of the season. I want to see it.
We need somebody that's statistically driven to tell us how many times that's happened. I'm sure it's obviously happened before. It could be many times. I don't know, but poll to poll to me seems nuts.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy, but there's a bunch of teams that have done it, and it's probably something worth looking into. There's no question. You know what else is worth looking into? Getting a pair of these babies, Shady Rays, because baseball today is sponsored by them. We want you to take on the sun with gear that is built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with these premium polarized shades at a very affordable price. In fact, Shady Rays offers a world-class product, just as good as any expensive pair out there. But you know what? They keep you looking studly, and they keep money in your pocket. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in the history of eyewear. Every pair of these bad boys is backed by lost and broken replacements. Plouffe, tell them what that means.
That means if you lose them, if you break them, if you sit on them with your fat ass like Chris Rose, just call them up and they'll replace them for you. No questions asked.
That's right. If you call and you say, I have a terrible story, what happened to my Shady Rays? They'll say, save it. Save your oxygen. Don't want to hear it. A new pair of Shady Rays is on its way to your house, Mr. Rose. We already have your address on file because they want you looking good. And you'll say, well, okay, well, how much is it going to cost? It ain't going to cost you anything. Not a damn thing. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. So head on over to shadyrays.com. Use that code word today. You're going to get 50% off 2+ pair of polarized sunglasses. Those 2 pair could be for you or you, and that's someone special. Head on over to shadyrays.com with that gear that is built to last. Might need your sunglasses in Miami. Maybe not indoors where the Marlins play, although that's cool. If you want to do that, you could be that guy. Nothing wrong with it. They had another nail-biter last night, down a run with 2 runners on and 1 out against the fireballer Jordan Hicks. Here's what happened.
And the runner goes from second to third on a tapper back to the mound, and it's overthrown. 1 run's going to score, and here comes the game winner. How do you like that? It's a Marlins walk-off win.
Better W for the hometown team or tougher L for the Cards?
I think it's a better win for the Marlins. The Cardinals are kind of used to this right now. Like, dare I say what they are? Dare I say it right now? I cannot believe this Cardinals team. I just can't, man. All the talent on the roster, and this is what we have to deal with. The Marlins, though, I mean, look, you have Jordan Hicks on the mound. You got a couple base runners on. You're hoping for a miracle. You get a miracle. An overthrown ball back to the pitcher, and you score 2 runs on it to win. That's a gift from the gods. The baseball gods are watching out for you. Think about that. That is a victory. I don't know what the win probability was before then. It probably wasn't too high. And then all of a sudden you get gifted a major league W. And when it comes down to it, and you're fighting for that wild card spot, you're going to say, remember that game we won that we had no business really winning?
Hmm?
But look, this is why you put runners on base. You apply a little bit of pressure. Although I don't know if you can call that pressure, but you get runners on base, good things happen. So I think it's a better win for the Marlins. The Cardinals, I can't do it anymore with them. It's incredible. And now I'm like starting to think it might be open season. Everyone's going to go. I don't know, man. What are you supposed to do?
I'll get to the Cardinals momentarily. The Marlins, despite having a -7 run differential, they are the number 1 wild card in the National League at 51-37. And I believe that 21 of those 51 wins have been of the one-run variety. So they know what it's like to play pressure-packed baseball. They continue to do a great job. And you know that little stupid saying that you have in Little League? Just put it in play. Just put it in play. Something good might happen. Well, that's exactly what happened with Joey Wendell. I mean, he hit a little tapper back to Hicks. Did he think that when he hit that ball that they were going to score 2 runs on that play? Of course not. But you just never know in this crazy sport. I will say this. I don't know if you noticed, but Garrett Hampson was inserted as a pinch runner at second base on that play. He was going home on that. And there was only 1 out. Hicks never went to check him out. So he was going to throw that ball to first base, and there was no way with Hampson's speed that they were going to nail him. It was going to be 9-9 regardless of whether or not Hicks hit his first baseman in the chest or he threw it all the way down the line.
I don't think he even noticed. I think that a lot of times relievers get tunnel vision. They're trying to get the guy out. I don't think he saw him starting to go. I don't even think he thought about it. I think what he thought was, wow, I have to throw this ball not 100 miles an hour over to the first baseman. And sometimes relievers just can't do it. They can't slow their arm down. The ball feels foreign to them when you have to do something like that. And, look, PFPs, pitchers fielding practice, you do it all the time during spring training. And then guess what? They don't do it again the rest of the season. I want to know how many times Cardinals pitchers have been out there fielding and throwing to bases. I bet you it's less than 5. And I bet you it's less than 3. Like, it just doesn't happen. But you know what's going to happen? Pitchers fielding practice now. It's going to happen.
It was the 18th blown save. And this is the reason I'm saying this is a tougher loss for the Cardinals. I know that you're like, well, wait a second, Rose. They're like almost 20 games under 500. How could this be another tough loss? The way the Cardinals came back with their prize rookie Jordan Walker hitting a blast almost 450 off of A.J. Puck to take the lead in the 9th inning and then turn it over to Jordan Hicks, who throws like a billion. You're like, okay. But they blew their 18th save of the season last night. Marmol said, for us, we have to be able to close the game out. We continue to give up too many runs to win ball games at the big league level. That needs to get better quickly. Yeah, no shit. Ain't that the truth? In the meantime, they are off to their worst start through this many games since 1990. That team finished 70-92. I don't know if they get to 70 wins, this club.
I'm not sure. The Marlins, though, you mentioned 21 one-run victories. They have the 3rd most wins in all of the big leagues. Right now, they have the 5th best winning percentage above teams like the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Astros, the upstart Reds. I don't know. The negative run differential, it means something. It does. 21-5 in one-run games. Could you regress to the mean a little bit? Sure.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. Pitching wins.
Home Run Derby bracket was revealed on Wednesday. We will be in the stands somewhere in the outfield. We can't wait to bring you that content up in Seattle. Which first-round matchup is most intriguing? We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. We're going to talk more about it on Monday's show.
Initially, I thought Polar Bear Pete versus J-Rod. You have the 2-time champ versus the hometown kid. I think that's going to be great. But then I started to think Adolis Garcia and Randy Arozarena, I think is going to be like the must-watch of the first round, because Adolis can hit the ball so hard and so far, and then Randy has a knack for the big moment. I think he's going to love this atmosphere. And remember, we just talked about they were teammates with the Redbirds. Minor league teammates now in the home run derby together. I think that's really cool.
More than just teammates. They were roommates in spring training of 2017. 2 years later, Garcia gets dumped by the Cardinals. Arozarena gets traded down to Tampa. But, yeah, there's going to be a lot of St. Louis fans watching that portion of the home run derby saying,
where's my team?
Yeah, what's going on here? I think the Polar Bear Pete, I know I was critical of his selection to the All-Star team earlier this week. That has nothing to do with his participation in the home run derby. There has never been a guy that is more built for this, and he knows what it's like to take on. Well, okay, yeah, you in the warehouse, yeah, no question. You are the Polar Bear Pete. You're the guy that would rip his shirt off and just say, "I am I am him. So Alonso had to go against Carlos Santana in 2019 in Cleveland, the first year that he won it. And I believe that was the first year he won it, at least. And he embraced the role of the villain. Like, everybody was pissed that Carlos wasn't going on. And so the rest of the night, everybody was booing Alonso. I think he digs it. I think he welcomes it. I think he likes being the heel of the wrestling world, at least in baseball. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
You think he's a heel? I feel like he's just kind of a goofball.
I think he is a goofball, but I think he likes it if he has to take down the hometown hero in this sport. Some guys would be like, oh, I don't want to do that because they're going to be against me. I think he's like, okay, you want to boo me the rest of the night? I don't care. I'm going to knock him out, and I'm going to knock out 2 other people. I'm going to win another $1 million, and I'm going to celebrate, and I'm going to shove it in your face while I'm getting booed.
$1
I think
million
that's what he likes.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Dang, man. Hey, where are we sitting? Do we know?
Somebody does know. That would not be me, but yes, somebody does know.
Okay.
I would check with Sam. Sam is like the MVP of our organization. And Sam knows all.
Yeah, I like that.
I want to tell you a little bit about Fubo. It is a streaming service with over 200 live channels of sports, movies, shows, and news. And, of course, Fubo, the #1 streaming leader in baseball coverage. They got MLB.TV. They got MLB Network. They got other top sports networks. Fubo has the most baseball games that you can get without cable. And guess what? Fubo's got you covered for the 2023 MLB All-Star Week. You can stream the 2023 MLB All-Star festivities from any device with Fubo. So that means what? You can watch the Home Run Derby Monday on ESPN, the All-Star Game Tuesday on Fox, and oh so much more. Fubo has 55,000 live sporting events annually. They also have innovative features like multi-view, 4K UHD quality, FanView stat tracker, and oh so much more. Here's a few things I love about it as well. It includes 1,000 hours of cloud DVR at no extra cost. Did you hear me? No extra cost. And on top of that, there is no commitment, no contract, cancel anytime. How many times have you been looped into a contract when it comes to your streaming services? They're like, oh, sure, for the next 2 or 3 years, you could be part of our family. Well, what if I don't like it and I want to get out? Fubo TV allows you to do that. Now, here's the thing. I haven't heard one person who's like, well, Fubo sucks, I'm out of here. Nope, hasn't happened. So if you're the first, congratulations. You can bid your due. You can tip your cap, say it's been fun, I'm out of here. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. No hard feelings. So we want you to try Fubo today with a free 14-day trial when you sign up at FuboTV.com/baseball today. Once again, that is FuboTV.com/baseball today for a free 14-day trial. We'll see you on there. Before we get out of here on the podcast and the YouTube side of things, want to talk a little bit about Phil Nevin's explosion. It's been a rough few days for him with Trout, Ohtani, Rendon all going down. Last night, 3-3 game, 7th inning, Webb's on the mound, not happy with the umpire strike zone while Sander Bogarts is at the dish. A couple of times, Nevin's yelling over there, Jerry Lane, a veteran umpire, hey, screaming at him. Lane doesn't even give him the time of day. And then eventually, after a ball is fouled away, Lane looks over there and he says, okay, we've pretty much had enough of this one. And now Nevin is really going to ape shit, and he comes out, and Lane stands it, goes face to face, and barely changes his expression. Do we give Jerry Lane a thumbs up for keeping his cool, or would you like to have seen a little more emotion out of the veteran umpire?
No, this is like, okay, if you want to make someone really mad that's mad at you already, want to make them even more mad, just stand there and take it. Umpires know that. If you're arguing balls and strikes and you're talking and he's not saying anything back to you, he's just staring, it makes you mad. You want him to react, and then it kind of makes you feel foolish because he's just standing there. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Jerry Lane's obviously a veteran umpire. I enjoy him a lot. He will talk to you. If he misses something, you can ask him about it. He's one of the good ones. But he knows exactly what he's doing right here. He knows Phil Nevin's coming out hot, and he knows if I just stand here, he's going to get even more mad. Like, it's just something that some of these umpires have figured out and understand. I've had it happen to me a couple times. It's it takes your level of anger from here to like out the freaking roof, man. So he knew what he was doing. I like it. I also like Phil Nevin. Phil Nevin is a massive human being. You get next to him, you're like, oh my goodness. So, Jerry's also a bigger dude himself. He stood his ground. I like it, Jerry.
Yeah, I've known Jerry for a long time. I remember having a conversation with him one time. I think I'm telling this right. I think he did the 2005 World Series between the White Sox and the Astros. And people are saying, well, wait a second, aren't they in the same league? No, they were in the Astros were in the National League for an awfully long time. There was an extra inning game that maybe went 13 or 14 innings. He did it with a partially torn Achilles, I believe. Yeah, and fought through. Jerry Lane, tough guy. And it is funny when you see one guy going a gazillion miles an hour and the other guy is stuck in neutral. That was funny. All right. Quick reminder, get your Bird Dogs question of the week in by tonight so we can use the best one on Friday's show, give you a Baseball Today t-shirt. We're mowing down. Don't forget to get your VIP tickets to Optimism Brewing next Tuesday, day of the All-Star Game, for our watch party, live edition of Talking Baseball, live edition of Ref Guests with Jolly Olive and Dan Canobio. It's going to be a blast. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the multi-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday on Baseball Today.